Hey there, welcome to my channel. My name is Linda. I've got a lot of fun DIYs for you today. So what are we waiting for? Let's get started. Today we'll be working on DIY farmhouse style fabric crafts for spring. Let's get started with project number 1. For this project, I'm going to be using some of this fleece from Walmart and some of this fabric here. This was Walmart or Hobby Lobby, whatever fabric you want, and then some of this felt that I know we can get at Hobby Lobby. But if your Walmart kind of has some of this color, it'd be great. If you don't want to use this, you could certainly use some of this kind of fabricy, fleecy, thicky stuff you can get from Walmart as well. What you're going to need is cut 2 circles out of the felt, and both of these circles, they measure about 15 inches in diameter. And then you're going to need to cut 2 sets of ears. Now what I did is I just cut it in like an eyeball shape and then cut off one end. Okay, so nice and easy. It comes to about 11 1/4 inches long, and then it's about 6 inches at the widest width in the middle. Again, 2 sets, so you need 4 pieces. And then I cut a little bit of that fleece for the center, and I cut that about 1 inch shorter than the actual ear itself. Now, if you're a gluer, Beacon Fabri-Tac or hot glue, go ahead and glue on the middle of both ears, okay? For a sewer, of course, we're going to take it to the sewing machine and we're going to sew on those ear centers only to one piece of the fabric, of course. You're not sewing them to both, so you're only sewing on the fleece onto one piece of felt of the fabric ear, okay? Perfectly perfect. Here's both of them done. Now we're going to go ahead and grab the other piece of felt and put them together. If you're a gluer, you're going to go around the edge, both sides, and glue that shut, leaving that end open and the center open, okay? Because you're going to stuff it, of course. We want to stuff our ears and make them poofy. If you're a sewer, of course, bring it around and go ahead and sew both of your ears together, again, leaving that little straight edge, short end open. Does that make sense? Straight edge, short end? Yes, perfectly. Leave that open because we want to stuff them. Now here's what it looks like all sewn. All right, and then we're going to bring in our stuffing and we're going to stuff them. Not too full. I mean, I think mine were about 1 inch, 1.5 inches thick. I used like a paintbrush to kind of stuff these in there. Bristle edge of the paintbrush worked great. And when I stuff them, I leave about 1 inch where there's no stuffing, as you can see here, because we want to take this and put it inside of our bunny body. So if you're a gluer, you're going to glue these down onto the back piece of your large circle, put the top circle over and glue this all the way around the edge. Let me move this up here so you can see it. Glue all the way around the edge, leaving about 5 or 6 inches open at the bottom so that you can, again, stuff it, okay? Sewers, going to kind of pin those ears on. Now you can see why, of course, gluers or sewers, you can see why we left about 1 inch of those ears with no padding so that it will be nice and flat at the top when you go to glue it or sew it together. Okay, so I'm going to bring mine around in and sew it. Kind of got to shove those stuffed ears through the opening of that sewing machine there. Just kind of sewing a little bit at a time, taking a pin out at a time. This is really, really cute. I like how it turns out. Get that sewn all the way, of course. That's all sewn, of course. We have our opening here. We're going to go ahead and stuff it. Now, I just buy pillows, Walmart pillows, and I use that for stuffing. It's way cheaper than trying to buy stuffing in the crafts section. So stuff it as stuffed as you want it. And for gluers, once it's done, you just glue your opening closed. And for sewers, of course, take it to the sewing machine and sew your opening closed. Now I'm going to discuss a little something here with you in just a second. Get my opening done. Now you're going to see how it kind of puckers around the edges. That's because we left the seam out. It's just going to be that way, okay? Nothing we can do about it. But now the ears, you can see how floppy they are. I don't mind that because it's going to sit up like in a chair or couch, going to hold those ears up. But if you want them not so floppy, maybe bring your ears down into your body center about 2 or 3 more inches and make your ears a little bit shorter in height, sticking out of your main pillow. Okay, now what I've got here, this is something I bought in the scrapbooking section. It's a pre-made tag. I'll show you later in a later project how you can make our own very easily. I've got something here I printed out on vinyl, a little hoppy spring. Of course, I will have a free free printable for you. It'll pop up here in just a moment. Now this free printable is for this project and then for the next project coming up. Okay, it'll be a PDF and a PNG for you. The PNG, you clean it out on your electronic cutting machine, clean out the center's background, print it out, you know, cut it out in vinyl. The PDF, you can use it and in like some carbon paper and take some fabric pens and draw it out on there using carbon paper. All right, once that's done, I've got my ironed on. I'm going to use these I got at Hobby Lobby. And then I've some of my fabric here, about a 2-inch strip all the way down, just a long, big long piece, 30 inches or so, and I've tied it into a bow, and I'm going to crinkle it along the edges. So I'm going to go ahead and glue my bow down, and then I'm going to, you all know it from Christmas, right? We're going to wrinkle and crinkle, and I'm going to glue those wrinkle and crinkles into place so they stay cutely wrinkled and crinkled. All right, perfect. All right, now we're going to glue our little fabric tag here on. And then I'm going to start gluing on my little crocheted flowers. You can use anything here, but I just like these crocheted flowers. And then some of these burlap leaves. I got mine from Hobby Lobby, but I just noticed at our Dollar Tree they now have packages of burlap leaves and burlap flowers and everything, which is going to be great in our upcoming projects as well for on today's videos. So this I got, it's Prima Marketing Inc. Scrapbooking section, Hobby Lobby. Right, macrame twine from Dollar Tree. I've tied it into a bow and added some Dollar Tree beads. And I'm gluing down my bow because that macrame twine is really flimsy, so I want to make sure my bow stays a bow shape. Glue down my flower in the center, and then, of course, tie a knot at the end of my tails so my beads don't fall off, and cut off the excess. Wonderful. And then I'm going to glue my tails into place as well, and my beads, so they just stay all nice and pretty. That way they don't flop toward the center. And I'm going to take this Distress Oxide ink, it's worn lipstick, a little pink, and a ink dauber, and just add some pink to the center of the ears, and that makes this project complete. Let's move on to project number 2. For this project, we are going to upscale some cute Dollar Tree pillow covers. Now, they are cute in their own right, but let's just make them a little cuter, right? So I have a blue one and a pink one. I'm going to iron them up off camera. And for the pink one, I'm going to start out with this Dollar Tree pink ribbon. I think it matches nicely. And here's a tag. I remember I said we're going to show you how to make one. I'm just using some duck cloth from Walmart by Waverly Fabric. And then these are burlap flowers I got from Hobby Lobby. Now, they're the Paper Studio mixed media section. As I said earlier, our Dollar Tree started carrying burlap flowers in, so those work great. Or Walmart, you can get both of these flowers. I actually used that flower on the left for our pillows today. So let's start off with the ribbon I made into a bow, and just using Beacon Fabri-Tac glue, I'm going to go ahead and glue it onto the left side of our bunny at the neck. And then, so for sewers, all right, here is the piece of fabric. It's about 1.5 inches wide, about 5 inches long, and I'm only sewing about 3/4 of it. I'll show you what it looks like here in a minute. Gluers, don't worry, I'm going to get to you. So here's what it looks like, and then I'm just going to fold over that top flap, and then I'm going to sew that down, okay? So this is going to just look like that other pre-bought tag in the first project, except it's not going to have like a little eyelet or grommet there. Okay, so this is what it'll look like all done. Don't worry, gluers, I will get back to you. Here we go. So gluers, this is, again, duck cloth, Waverly brand, Walmart. I'm just going to use my other fabric tag here to, cut out the width and the length that I need. Again, about 1.5 inches wide, about 5 inches tall. And I'm going to pull on the threads here to kind of distress it. And then if you're a gluer, just glue that top inch down, just like that. And you can make little dash lines with the Sharpie marker, would be cute. And then we're going to add a little button to it. And then how cute is that? Easy peasy. All right. So here again, I'm bringing in some vinyl I cut using my Cricut cutting machine. Again, this is the free printable for the last project and this project. I'll be using the two quotes on the left side for these two pillows here. And I just did it in iron-on vinyl. All right, and I've got a little butterfly button. It just is, I can't even remember where I got it, in my stash. Any button will do. I'm just adding some thin twine to it, putting it down onto some tape so I can actually like tie a knot with the twine, you know, glue a little bit on there. Tie a bow with the twine there's and holding my button in place while I tie the bow. Boy, that was hard to say. And now I'm going to go ahead and glue down my fabric tag and glue down my little butterfly button. And we're going to glue down our burlap flower at the tip top of that. The butterfly button will just peek out. And now back to these Walmart flowers I said I'd use. I'm going to take it apart. I'm going to take the first layer off and the back layer off. And so on the back layer, just cut off one petal. Okay? And then the two middle pieces that are stuck together, because it's 4 layers, just cut off one petal. And I was going to leave it like that, but then I realized my flower's a little crooked here. So I went ahead and pulled these two apart. So you could pull them all apart or not, doesn't matter. And then glue these 3 pieces together. So the flower is 4 pieces. We're using 3 pieces of it. And then glue a button in the center. And now I've got a little piece of twine here. I'm just going to pinch it in half. And then use my fingernail and kind of just make little curves on each end. So it looks like a little antenna, right? We're making our flower into a butterfly. And we're going to glue that twine down on the back of the butterfly. And then glue it onto the ear, and now we have a cute little flower butterfly. All right, now I'm going to use some of this crochet string from Dollar Tree. This, you could go all the way around the pillow if you want. I'm just going to go with the bottom, front, and back, but I have a short piece here because this is like the end of one roll, so I'm just using it up. But, you know, I would cut probably one long piece, but I'm going to go ahead and flip it over here and then glue the ends down and then cut another piece to cover that whole center that doesn't, have any. But yeah, it would look super cute with twine going all the way around the front. But I'm just going to do a little bit at the bottom. All right? That makes this pillow complete, really cute. I think we upscaled it quite a bit here. Looks super cute, and you can fill it with some pillow inserts from Walmart. They're like 2 for $10. All right, here's the blue one. All right, we're going to use some of that macrame twine again. I was going to use that burlap flower. I ended up changing it, but here's our twine into a bow, and we're going to add some beads to it. So I kind of want it to match the first one, but, not as foo-foo-y as pink, but still kind of match. So adding our beads to each tail of our twine. Not going to knot them off yet because I don't know how long I want them. I've made another little fabric tag here, and I'm using the other little quote of that free printable for you. Going to iron that on, little vinyl quote, iron on. Perfect. We're just kind of follow the same routine. I'm going to glue down my twine bow, gluing down the bow loops themselves. So, like I said, that macrame twine's really flimsy, so I want those loops to stay in a bow shape. I changed to one of those Walmart flowers, so we'll glue down our tag. And then I've made a little twine bow here using 2 pieces of thin twine. Going to glue that on top of the tag, and then the flower on top of that. Okay, then we're going to knot the ends of our macrame twine there so our beads don't fall off, and smush the ends so it's cute. Knot and cut and smush. Then we're going to, cut the little twine tails where we want them, the length. And then I'm going to go ahead at the bottom and do the same thing and add some of that crochet ribbon from Dollar Tree. I've got a longer piece this time to go all the way around. I think it just adds a little something, something. You don't even have to add this, but I think it certainly upscales it. And then once I get this twine or crochet thread, oh my gosh, crochet ribbon, let's try it for a third time, along the bottom edge, that makes this project complete. Let's move on to project number 3. For this project, I am just freehanding a large carrot shape here. I'm sorry I don't have a printable, but we will go over measurements. I'm just using some paper here I've taped together, doing a cute kind of just scallop shape. You could do a regular, just kind of rounded carrot shape, whatever you feel like. Of course, going to go ahead and get this cut out to get my pattern. I do like how this carrot turns out. Perfectly cute. Anyway, here is my pattern shape. Now for the fabric, I'm going to use the same fabric we used in the last project that we made the little tags out of. That Waverly brand from Walmart duck cloth fabric. And of course, I just pin it to the pattern. You want 2 pieces for your carrot. And this is a really large carrot, of course. I'm going to make like several of them. I have a spring show coming up, so I'm going to make 3 or 4 of them, and, you know, we'll see how cute they are. People buy them, right? And, of course, keep one for myself. All right, once this is cut out, we'll go over some measurements here. So the overall length of the carrot is about 19 inches, all right? The top width, the widest width is about 14 inches. The middle is about 12, and the bottom portion is about 7 inches, okay? Now, at the top, this is just a little remnant I had left over. It's about 10 inches. I'd probably go about 12 inches in height. All right, and then I'm going to rip that to the height I have, and then the overall length of it is about 21 inches, okay? If you're a gluer, Beacon Fabri-Tac glue, I'll use a little bit of it today too, but on your main carrot, go ahead and glue around the outside edge in between the 2 pieces. All right, and then leave your top portion open. Hot glue will work fine for this, of course, as well. If you're a sewer, of course, take it to your sewing machine and sew around the edges, leaving that top portion open. Because it's a pillow, right? We want to stuff it, so we need to have an opening, and the top portion is just as good any of a portion part of this pillow that needs an opening as it could be. Did that even make sense? Oh gosh, you guys, so sorry. All right, once we get this sewn up, show you how it looks here. And what I'm doing is I want to make it all distressed. So I'm taking my fingernail and I'm just kind of fraying the edges of both pieces, you know, along those seamed areas there, just to give it our farmhouse feel. Right, and then I want to cut another piece of fabric here. This is where I'm going to house my quote. Right, it's about an 8 by 8 inch square, maybe a little bit shorter than that, but I'm just making a little slit and ripping the fabric, okay? This is the quote I'm going to use. Yes, I have a PDF and a PNG for you, so if you have an electronic cutting machine, you can download it, clean out the background in the centers of the letters, and cut out your vinyl quote, iron-on vinyl, of course. PDF, you can carbon paper and use fabric markers or print it onto your fabric first. I'll show you in the next project how we can do that. We've done it many times before, right? But, you know, we have new viewers, right? I'm going to take that piece of 8 by 8 little striped fabric, and I'm just going to sew around the edges just to give it a little something, something. If you want to take a Sharpie marker and do a couple of dash lines around the edges just to make it cute, you can certainly do that. And then I'm going to iron on my quote. I like to always put a little piece of fabric over the top when it's a larger image. 300 degrees, 30 seconds or so seems to work perfect here. And then once that's done, I'll go ahead and peel off that top layer. Perfectly perfect. And then I'm just going to glue it on. So those of you who are gluers or sewers, you know, I'm going to glue it on here. It'll look sewn on because I sewed around the edge of that 8 by 8 square piece, of course. Get good glue on there. This fabric's thick enough the glue doesn't show through or have any wet spots or anything. Center it where you want. And then once that's all together, we'll start stuffing our carrot and just stuff it as full as you want it to be. All right, here it is all stuffed. And now we're going to go into those of you that are gluers. All right, so you glue along the back edge there, and then you can take your fabric and just pleat it a little bit at a time, and then glue it to that back edge. You can't pre-pleat the whole thing because you need to be able to have it extend to your entire opening, right? So you have to kind of pleat and glue a little bit at a time. I hope that's understandable. and then glue on the front and press it together. That's a complete non-sewing option. If you're a gluer or a sewer, this is the easiest option. Take a needle, long piece of thread, make a knot at one end, fold your fabric in half, and then just put your needle through your fabric at the folded edge about a 1/2 inch down, and you're just going to pleat your fabric onto your needle, back and forth, back and forth. So even if you're not a sewer, this is so easy, and it's going to be so much easier to get this at the top of your carrot. Doesn't matter how far apart your stitches are or how long they are, just pleating your fabric back and forth. We're working this, and it's called a gathering stitch. Okay, and we're going to do this all the way to the other end of the fabric. This is what it looks like so far. All the way to the end, my needle and everything's still attached. We're going to leave it, and you're going to pull on that thread, and then you can gather your fabric together. Everything's still attached. Now what we're going to do is measure our opening. We got about a 10-inch opening, okay? Kind of make your gathers a little bit, and then take your fabric against a ruler and adjust your fabric to the size of your opening. And then once you get there, then go ahead and take your needle and thread, and you're just going to come back through the back of it, and you're going to just kind of make a little loop and knot it off in the back and cut off your excess thread. Then if you're a gluer, add some glue on the back like I showed you earlier, put it in, and then add some glue along the front and smush it together. It's going to, be so much easier, I think, than trying to hold the pleats together and glue it or whatever. Anyway, if you're a sewer, I'm going ahead and pinning my greenery at the top, and I'm just going to sew that opening closed. So for gluers, I really hope it might have been easier to watch than me explaining. I don't know, but I hope it's understandable. But I think you have an easier time if you at least do the gather stitch at the top of your carrot. But you can get it in there, just by pleating and gluing if you prefer that. Here's what it looks like sewn. And now I've just got heavy, thick kind of twine ribbon here. You get at Walmart, bigger twine. And then these are round circles. You get them in a package at Hobby Lobby. And I'm just using my Crop-A-Dile because I wanted a big button, and I'm punching some buttonholes in them. It went through it like butter. It's about a 1/4 inch thick, wood piece. And then I'm adding some twine through the center of those buttonholes, and I'm just going to tie a simple little knot in the front. Not going to try and tie a bow or anything. And then I'm going to just cut off a little bit of excess, and we're going to glue our twine bow down. I've got nice long tails, how I like it. We're going to glue our button to the center of the twine, and that makes this project complete. Let's move on to our last project, number 4. Now for this project, I was originally going to use this bag from Dollar Tree and just cover the front, but it wasn't quite the right color. So I'm going to kind of show you how to do it from scratch. But if you want it really easy, a bag that's pre-made, ready at Dollar Tree, and just do the design I'm going to show you and glue it or sew it to the front. So I'm going to use, again, some of this Waverly brand duck cloth. I'm going to bring in lots of different materials here that I've just ripped to the sizes I've needed, like that stripe fabric, some of this burlap fabric. Dollar Tree's come in with a lot of rolls of burlap fabric now. Some of this cute green dot material I got at Hobby Lobby. Some muslin material you can get at Walmart. And then what I did is like, okay, well, how is this bag sewn? So I just kind of opened it and realized it's one solid piece, and all I did was sew it at the sides. I'm like, okay, that's easy, and that'll be easy to teach. So the bag length from the front to the back overall is about 31 inches, and side to side, the width is about 13 inches. Okay, so what you're going to do is take your material. I put it at the top of the bag. I made a little slit, and I ripped it down at the 13-inch mark, and then I folded it over to the other side. I made a little slit and I cut it down at the top, and then it ended up being about 31 inches long, as we discussed. Now, I also cut some strips of muslin for the handles, and they're about 1.5 inches in length and about 21.5 inches long. All I did was measure the handles that were already on the bag to get my length. Now I'm taking some muslin material, and I'm just ripping it. I'm going to have about 4 or 5 layers of fabric on the top here, okay? So I'm just ripping it for the center of the bag just to add some textural interest. It's about a 1/2 inch shy on either side and about 1 inch shy top and bottom edge, just to make room for the top for the handles to go, although I actually think my handles end up covering that piece, but that's okay. And then I've chosen another piece of fabric here, and I'm ripping it down. I'm not giving you sizes on this. You can just kind of rip it to the sizes you want, and it's going to make it kind of shabby and farmhouse here. So I'm seeing what I need here on the burlap fabric. You can see there it's a little bit too big as well, so I'm just going to cut off one side and then pull on the threads to, distress it and fray it. Right, got my stripe piece on top. And now for this part, this is a printable. I will have the link down below to the Etsy shop that you can get it. You get a whole digital download of files. She has so many, my cart is full, you guys. But link down below, like right now, this with I don't know how many 20 images or something, like $3 and some cents on sale. You just print it off onto some fabric. So really quick and easy here. A piece of copy paper. This is how I did it. Multi-purpose adhesive, spray your paper. Then I got thin muslin fabric, and I lay it onto the paper and smooth it down. I'm going to cut off any fabric that's hanging off your paper. And if you have any paper hanging off the outside edge of your fabric, you want to cut that off too, because you don't want that sticky to go on your rollers. Inkjet printer, and I just run it through, and then this is how it comes out, okay? This has been sitting for days. I'm just going to go ahead and pull it off. It's not sticky or anything like that. It looks perfectly wonderful. Prints beautifully, as you can see. And now I'm just going to rip it as well. I know it was almost a shame to rip it, right? I'm just making a slit at the margin edges of the design, and I'm just ripping that off so I stay in with the look of the ripped edges of all my fabrics, okay? And if you don't like this bag idea, you could totally just turn it into like a pillow if you wanted. All right, now I'm making another piece of muslin strip ribbon about 2 inches wide, about 36 inches long, because we're going to make this for a ribbon to go around the front of our floral design there, okay, like this here in just a little bit. All right, so I'm going to pin this off. I'm going to use VersaFine ink here and these stamps from Dollar Tree. They're not the best stamps. When I put it here on my stamper block and turn it over, it just falls off. You get what you pay for. But I like the letters, and I'm just going to do them as you see me do here. I'm going to lay it in my ink, pick it up with my fingers, and smush it down with my fingers. And I'm going to get a little bit of the edges of the stamp around the letters and everything. And I'm okay with that because it just kind of gives it that distressed look. Okay, so I'm going to continue on with my word here. This is part of the quote. We'll finish the other quote later. This, of course, says unrelenting. I think this turns out so pretty for a really beautiful kind of spring type bag. Gluers. Beacon Fabri-Tac or hot glue, go ahead and glue down the sides of your bag, not the middle because it's a bag. We want to leave that open. And then go ahead and glue down all your pieces of fabric except that top layer, your 2 pieces with your fabric bow. All right, we'll get to that in just a minute. All right, for your handles, I'm still with the gluers here. You can certainly go ahead and glue your handles on and leave it at that. Even with Beacon Fabri-Tac glue, I'm about 98% sure of security, but I don't want any of you coming to me saying, I just glued that down and then my handles tore off and my iPad was in it and it broke. Nope, 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 nope. So here's what I would recommend you do. Glue it down a little bit, needle and thread, not the end. Couple of knots here, and I'm going to come from the back to the front, and then come down at a diagonal from the front to the back. And now I'm at the back again. I'm going to come up, back to the front, and then down to a diagonal. And we're just going to make a little simple X stitch. Nice and easy. And I would go over that like twice just to make sure it's secure. I really don't want any of you relying just on glue if you're making a bag and the handles, and oh my gosh, I do not want to hear that your bag broke and something inside of it broke. So I would recommend this all 4 sides of your handles, and then just knot off the back and tie it in a knot, and it's done. Nice and easy, okay? Those of us that are sewers. So gluers, you're sitting out hanging here for a while. I'm going to go ahead and use Fabri-Tac glue and just kind of glue down my top 2 pieces here, just tacking it down. All right, and then I'm going to take this to the sewing machine and sew it on and get that decorative stitching around it. All right, if you're a gluer and you want that decorative stitching, you can certainly, I always say a, fine point Sharpie marker and make little stitch lines around it would be super cute. All right, make sure your bag is completely open, right? We don't want to sew our bag together yet. And then I'm just going around and sewing both of these pieces here all the way around, one piece at a time, and making sure, like here I'm on that bottom piece, I kind of fold up that top layer of fabric, make sure I'm not getting that stuck into the bottom piece that I'm sewing, if that makes any sense. And then once that bottom piece is sewn, I'll sew that top fabric piece on both pieces, just because I want that stitching, decorative stitching, to kind of continue all the way up. All right, here's what it looks like, decorative stitching around. Okay. Now we're going to work with that top piece. I'm going to go ahead and pin those 2 pieces of fabric together, set it aside for a minute. I'm going to glue down my burlap fabric, and off camera I'm going to go ahead and sew this on as well, just to save a little video time here. And then we're going to come back to our 2 top pieces, right? And I'm going to stitch both of those together. Again, just decorative stitching. Gluers, you're still waiting out here because you don't want to glue this down yet. I got to get through the sewers so that I can tell you what to do next, right? So once I get this sewn, just the top portion here, just the top piece. Now I want to continue my decorative stitching, so I'm going to sew along the outer edges of this big, ribbon decor, we'll call it. And then I also, off camera, sewed my handles, okay? I'm just going around all the edges, all 4 sides of the ribbon and the handles, okay? Again, just for decorative stitching. Okay, once that's done, I've wrapped it around the 2 pieces because now I want to finish stamping my word on one of the tails. I just kind of wrapped it and folded the tail over just so I can see how it's going to lay. And I'm using those stamps again, of course. Same method with my fingers and kind of into the ink and, using my fingers to press the stamp down. And I'm putting the word hope on there, so our title is Unrelenting Hope. Okay? Kind of like Easter spring idea. Now, gluers, what you want to do is take this fabric strip, once you got your word on there, and you want to glue the fabric strip to the front and back of your top piece here, and then glue your whole top piece down onto the remainder of your bag below, okay? Sewers, I'm just going to pin it into place. And I pin the right edge of that fabric strip as well, so I want to sew that into place too. And then we're going to take it to the sewing machine, and I'm going to sew all the way around this entire ensemble onto the front of our bag. I hope all of this is understandable, but I just love how this turns out. It's kind of that shabby, distressed kind of farmhouse, a little bit of spring, but more kind of an Easter type bag. I love it. I think it's so pretty, making this for a gift for a friend, so I really hope she likes it. Right, going ahead and sewing down the rest of this. And now I'm going to come in. Gluers, you're already done, right? So us sewers have to now sew our handles on. I'm tacking it down with some Fabri-Tac glue here, and I'm going to make sure from side to side, I'm about 2 inches from the left and right edge and about 1.5 inches down. I'm just going to make sure both sides are even, tack it down with my glue, pin it, and then sew my handles down. In a minute, for the back side, I just folded that bag over, and then I just matched it to the front because you can kind of see how it's laying on the front from the back side. And then I'm going to come in and sew those handles down, and I'm just going to do a little box stitch here. I mean, it looks like a little rectangle box when I'm done. I'll show you here. I'm just going to sew one, and then I'll do the rest off camera. But you can just do like a straight line back and forth a couple of times and back stitch. But this is what I ended up doing. And so this is what it looks like and what it will look like on the back as well. And now, gluers, you're already done sitting here waiting. Us sewers need to sew up the sides of our bag, right? So I'm pinning it into place, and I'm going to come down holding up that top fabric so I don't get that into the sewn edges on the side here. And I'll sew all the way down, and I actually sew like a double stitch just for decorative. I think one stitch all the way down would be fine, but I do sew it twice on each side. And of course, I will show you what that looks like as soon as this is done here. But you'll have to let me know down below what you thought of this project. I don't think I've done like a shabby chic bag on here before, so I hope you like it. This is what it looks like sewn. You can see my double stitching there. Okay, now we're going to finish it up. Everyone should be at this point with our tails hanging out. I'm going to use one of these pins and these keys you can get at Hobby Lobby. These pins are in the scrapbooking section by Tim Holt. They're called loop pins, or if you go into Walmart in the sewing section, they're called bulb pins. All right, and just get some of those. I'm going to tie my tails just into like a little half knot, fold it over. I'm going to take my pin with my key, pin it to the front. That's it, and that makes this project complete. So I hope you enjoyed all of these spring crafts today. Please leave me a comment down below and let me know which project was your favorite. And yes, today was the last of our series of spring crafts for 2023. I know some of you are going to be glad. You've probably had enough of carrots and bunnies, but you know what? When you're doing a spring craft show, you have to make multiples of things. So hopefully I at least made it interesting for you. Please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps my channel to grow. And if you walked in here for the first time and you're just checking things out and you're digging what you saw, I hope before you click off that you hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss out on another video from me. Yes, remember, I almost lost my train of thought. Remember, I'll have the links down below to the free printables for you and the link down below to the Etsy shop where you can purchase those digital files, beautiful like we used on our little cute shabby chic bag. And of course, I'll list the fonts that I used in case you want to just recreate them yourself with your electronic cutting machine, the tags that we had on our projects. With that said, before I go, I'm going to leave you with one final thought. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. The word pure means to not be mixed with any unnecessary elements, and the scripture displays the humility and kindness of your heart, reflecting the heart of Jesus. Now, picture this, Jesus' gentle whisper on the mountain where thousands can seem to hear him. His soothing voice enters in to teach what it means to learn to follow him, live in his kingdom, and learn to be like him. The disciples are sitting near Jesus as the rest of the crowd are seated behind them. It's a decision in the disciples' heart to sit closer and lean in on his every word. Oh, how we should be like them. Our hearts wanting to lean in a little closer and learn from Jesus and what he has for us. Our hearts should be willing to lean in without unnecessary elements, without extractions, to learn how our situations in life can be impacted for the blessing in the kingdom of heaven. No matter what our situation is, when we step into the kingdom of God, as we draw near to him, he will draw near to us. As our hearts lean in and enter into what he has for us, we will be blessed. No matter what is happening in our lives, if we should focus on only him and what he has to offer, our hearts will be filled with his presence, with his mercy, with his grace, and all else will be added unto us. We shall see God for who he is, and how his love for us can wipe away all else and become unimportant. His kingdom is what should matter in our lives. His blessing is what brings us through life. His purity is what makes us whole. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. I wish you a very happy Easter. I thank you for sharing your time with me, and I'll talk with you again soon. Bye.